take hold for the month of March. We're going to be led in our opening by Ms. Holt, and if you would, remember Gary Lynn, who lost his brother. That's why he won't be here this evening. He's still taking care of that.
Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so very much for allowing us to be here tonight to do the work of our county. God bless those that are all here with their extended families and those that couldn't be here tonight, and especially our brother Gary. God, thank you for the things you've bestowed on us. We ask that you give us strength and guidance as we go through this year. In Jesus' holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Join us in the national Pledge of Allegiance by Brian Tate.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Holt. Nikki. Here. Sarah. Here. Phillips. Here. Ken. Bradford. Beto.
Here.
Lemmings. Bass.
You have a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve? It's been motioned and second to approve the minutes of last month's meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You have before you a copy of the treasurer's report. Do I hear a motion to approve that?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. It's been motioned and approved to adopt the treasurer's report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You have before you a copy of the appropriations analysis. That was also emailed. Do I hear a motion to approve the appropriations analysis?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? County roads and equipment report. We're continuing to improve drainage on county roads on a daily basis. This involves replacing culverts and going larger where we need to and doing some ditch work. I hope you notice ditches that are being cleaned out. The brush crew has been busy, very busy this month, trying to get the right-of-ways cleared out for safe travel this spring. We have found a crusher. It's going to be a very large jaw system. The output of that is much more than what we need, and we got such a great deal on it. It's going to only cost $550,000 against the $750,000 that was approved last month. That's going to give us our screens and our crusher. But when we get certified, we should be producing by May. We have negotiated with John Deere. We're going to go ahead and acquire another grader. And when our CAT lease expires in November, it looks like we're probably going to go with John Deere because we're going to be purchasing for about the same price that we were leasing from John Deere. We're going to be restoring that equity. We are continuing to do as much work as we can in-house, doing our own work. Even those who used to do some of that work can respect us doing our own job. And it's working out very well, and we continue to save money by doing so. Any questions for me on county roads? Sheriff.
If I may, I want to comment on the county road. I can appreciate their help. We're swapping out a lot of our small maintenance and things that they're using. Our tire machines and stuff to help us save costs in both departments. So we're swapping labor back and forth in order to keep costs down as far as maintenance goes in the vehicles, things of that nature. So I appreciate that from the county judge and Randy Ward. To start this afternoon, I want to thank y'all for allowing me to speak and give my report. I'm still very in love with my job and honored to be here as your sheriff. Today marks our third dog will be in negotiation tomorrow. The first two, we acquired the first 2 months. Our third one will most likely be acquired from Searcy County tomorrow. So that's gonna put me at, that was kind of my personal goal. So I'm pretty excited about that. So we're gonna be in negotiation with Searcy County tomorrow on our third K-9, which will take us into our patrol activity log, which I did provide those as J.P. Tatum asked us to last month. If y'all want to follow along there, you can see that we're pretty consistent, as we had a total of 1,142 contacts in that February month. And you can look, it breaks it all down there in several different instances that we respond to as a service call. We go into the CID activity as your second page there. Had 24, no, excuse me, that was January. February, we had a total there of 85 cases that our 3 CID individual deputies took care of, and it breaks all those down into drug violations, personal property, and then we had felonies, which turn into the same categories, and DWIs and the call-outs, which are coming out on other miscellaneous contacts, where maybe a deputy has a question or something like that, they contact our CID while they're on call. Is there other miscellaneous contacts there? Our third one is our detention log, which shows our intake and our release. Total intake went up just a little bit this month, and the release, obviously, it goes up. Current inmates at the bottom is including our 309s and our federal inmates, which I want to update us on the 309s and the federal inmates. The 309s, back in the fall, we agreed to make our 309s at full capacity, which we did that immediately in January. Obviously, we couldn't do that with our federal inmates because the government was shut down, so we were having a lot of issues trying to get any contact there, much less cooperation. But as of yesterday, we went and picked up 10 more federal inmates, so we're at full capacity, feds and 309s. Feds are at 18. On Monday, we renegotiated our contract with the U.S. Marshals, where we were at $53 per day. We have since asked for $62 per day. And the reason being is we had to go through the contract and we had to put up 2018's numbers as far as kitchen and food and supplies and all the way down the line. And then we had to put up a projected budget. So we put up a projected budget, and there was a difference of $58,000 more for 2019. So in that, I done the figure and I raised it $9 per head, would cover that to $60,000. So we just asked for what we needed there to cover our costs. So we're hoping that we get accepted on that and approved on that contract. Also including on that contract is their question to us was why had we not placed our employee salary on the transport. We do a lot of transports for U.S. Marshals. Right now, we have signed our contract and we're hoping to get it approved to where we will be responsible for transporting them to Little Rock to court. We will be responsible for transporting them to medical, and we will be responsible for transporting them also jail to jail, which is something that we're offering that only 4 other agencies offer in the state of Arkansas. But in getting that corrected, as far as getting our guards paid while they're doing that transport, that would be reimbursement back to the county, be money back to the county that we've been spending out. And also we're sending us the forms in order to pay us mileage on that, which would be by the state, which would be 58 cents per mile. So every mile we move with a fed inmate, we're going to be getting reimbursed for our mileage, and the guards are also going to be getting paid, so that we can help ourselves on that. Ms. Deb Proud, my assistant, She also has gotten the form straightened out where all of our medical bills, as a federal inmate, should be paid by the U.S. Marshals. Unfortunately, in the past, we haven't been doing that. We were hit with a bill for over $6,000 first of this year for 2018. We're in the process of getting that adjusted, and hopefully we don't pay that. And in the future, she's getting the form set up where we fill that form out, and the U.S. Marshals pays for her medical bills, not Banner County, which we've been doing for several years, at least 36 months. So that's going to save the county more money as well. So I'm glad to say that we're at full capacity with our feds. We're underway with our contract. We're waiting for approval on it, and I think that we're going to be able to adjust a lot of money in that. Any questions on the feds or the 309s?
How many 309s do you currently have?
We have 6.
Okay.
Sheriff, if you transport folks around to different places, is that going to put strain on what you're having on duty?
No, we've brought in part-time. They have to be part-time certified as a deputy, and we have to use 2 of those to transport an inmate for feds.
Okay.
So that's the total that we put on the guard transport salary, their hourly rate. We put to pay for 2. So.
I have a question about the dogs. Who are the handlers for those?
Ethan Ward is the handler for our first dog. Sonny Clifford is the handler for our second dog. And Curtis Holloman is going to be our handler for our third dog.
Are those all narcotic dogs, or are they?
Yes. And they also, 2 of them, one of them is solely a narcotic dog. The one that Sonny has is solely narcotic. And then the other 2 are going to be track, narcotic, and bite. The third, or the next sheet here is the animal control log. Shows what he done there in February. A total of 41 contacts there with the dogs. We are currently still full there. Which, as we spoke last time, he does a lot of transports for us. When the pound's full, there's not a lot to do.
Yeah.
So he does a lot of paper shoving and a lot of transport for us. And then on the back, as the ordinance has said, to begin February 1, we have the charge for the detention on bringing in the inmates from other agencies, and that is underway. We also received our first payment on that today.
Your report.
On
A lot easier when you can sit and get you know.
We're down to 10 years now, that's the most thorough we've got.
Yeah.
well, you know what? I got to commend the guys and my assistant. You know, they do an activity log, and I know as a deputy in the past, I've never liked to do one of those. But it does let everybody else kind of know where we're at and where we stand on everything. So they are completing those for us, and as far as I know, I don't have any complaints of it. But they're providing that for us, and then Ms. Deb puts that together for me, and I appreciate it. It keeps us all on track. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other county boards that wish to address the court? Next up is Jackie Sykes with Uncommon Communities.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Some of you may know a little bit about Uncommon Communities, and some of you may not. So just very briefly, almost 4 years ago, the Rockefeller Institute and the University of Arkansas Breakthrough Solutions came to Van Buren County and got leaders in the community together and asked them, what do you want in your county? Well, from the very diverse group that we had, we realized we wanted all of the same things. And if you ask anybody, they'll say we want more jobs, we want a nice place to live, we want good schools, we want hospitals, we want events and activities, things to do for our kids. And so we all wanted the same thing. And this group was formed, and for the next 3 years, we spent time up at Petit Jean Mountain, and we learned so much in those 3 years. We made invaluable contacts. We came back to our communities and we started doing things with that. And at the very end, we received a review of where we stood in Fairfield Bay and in Clinton and where we needed to improve and the things that we were doing that was successful. As the new Fairfield Bay Chamber Director, I'm very proud of Fairfield Bay and all the things that they learned and they're moving forward on. And but I'm even more excited to be in this position too, because now we started. Our first step in our first project was a billboard, which I'm sure you've all seen down here south on 65. That was the first step. That was the first project. And now, thanks to our current county judge, we have an official board, which I will introduce you to tonight. And let you, I only have one of them here because Sean is singing. Jessica's at the city council meeting, so I'll kind of give an update on what they're doing. But I want you to know that we actually have a board that has positions, we have responsibilities, we have a task that we have to do every month. We have a plan that we're going to move forward on the next 6 months, the next year, the next 5 years, and moving the county forward. This group is not meant to take over any other existing groups or organizations. We're not here to tell them what to do and what not to do. We are here to support them and encourage them, but bring the entire county together under a new brand, a new logo, which will encompass a lot of our businesses and activities that we have available in Van Buren County. The new logo and brand is Van Buren County. Your journey begins here. And so tonight, your journey begins with us by us telling you what we're doing. Of course, our judge is on the board. I'm the chairman of the board, so I get to do everything that nobody else does. Deborah Brennan is our secretary, and she's going to tell you a little bit about what she does and why it's important what she does.
I'm kind of a newcomer to the group. I've been with the group about a year, a little over a year, and I served at the secretary from the beginning, but now that we have a new board and new responsibilities, I have additional duties besides what you would expect, preparing the agenda, notifying meetings, and so forth. A lot of what I do is outreach to all of the groups that we have in the county to see what they have going on. I report that to the board, any anticipated events. We coordinate that with our outreach related to Facebook and Instagram and other BBC Journey that's up and running now. And it's just an exciting momentum that's come about in the last few months since January. And I'm really pleased to be part of it. And particularly the learning more about the community groups, what they do, how they do it, how we can coordinate activities countywide, not just Clinton, not just Fairfield Bay, not just, Denard or Shirley or whatever, to make sure that we have all of the communities represented and are caring about their interests and serving their needs. So a lot of what I do now is outreach. Of course, I prepare the minutes, and I share those with all of the county members and the group members. So I'm working with Jessica now. We're doing MailChimp with a very large portfolio. We have a lot of organizations in this county that are active in doing things. So we're getting that up and running with some templates, and you'll be hearing more from me through the MailChimp and our mailing list that we do. So that's a work in progress, and we're really making a lot of progress very quickly, which is good. We're a very active board. We've invited the public to join us. We haven't had any takers yet, but our board members are still in discussion and still forming our roles and activities. And we have several vacancies, which I'm sure Jackie will give you a little update on what those positions are and what we will need them to do. And so anyway, I'm just happy to be here, happy to be part of the economic development, tourism, and all of the exciting things we have going on and promoting the county. It's a wonderful place to live. So, all right, thanks.
So that's basically what we do. We address economic development and growth and tourism in Van Buren County. And with that being said, the other positions that we currently have filled is social media and advertising director is Sean Sykes. And yes, that's my husband, but he's also a complete computer nerd. And when you get Sean together and you get Jessica together as our brand coordinating director, I don't understand anything they say. So Jessica gave me this wonderful report to give to you, but I'm going to summarize it for you. Basically, they're working very hard on the new logo and the brand and getting it out there through all sorts of social media. Our website is up. The website for Uncommon Communities and Your Journey is basically the tourism site. We're trying to separate tourism and the 5 major journeys that you want to land. It's like a landing page. So when you go to that landing page and that website, it's going to have the first 5 major journeys when you're thinking about tourism. And that's your journey to the outdoors, which we have so many wonderful things. One click on that's going to take you to all the outdoor journeys you can do in the entire county. Okay? Then when you're traveling, you want someplace to eat. So the next one will be your culinary journey. And that's going to have one click away, and you can find all the great places to eat in Van Buren County. You also want retail, so your retail journey, places to shop. Your journey to rest and relaxation, places that you can stay, hotels, bed and breakfasts, retreats. Your journey to entertainment, and what else is there to do, in the county. So those will be the 5, and they're working very hard on getting this next month. We should have, by the end of the month, we should have the billboard changed. We're going to have banners with those 5 journeys. So when people are traveling through here, they're like, your journey begins here. Okay, wow, I didn't know Van Buren County had this, and I didn't know they had this. And it's going to direct them to this landing site that's going to take them to all the other groups, organizations, businesses in the county of places to go and things to do. It brings us all together under one umbrella. And so there's a lot of technical stuff that Sean and Jessica are working on to make sure this all flows very smoothly and that all the information gets out there. So with that being said, I gave you a copy of basically what our plan is. And the second page, it lists a bunch of different other journeys. And for a long time, we've been trying to get a visitor center, a welcome center, a journey center here in Van Buren County. And thanks to some folks there in Fairfield Bay and the community club and the support of my board, they are going to be opening a welcome center, which the Chamber of Commerce is going to help run. And inside will be the first Journey Center. And it's my plan to have these beautiful posters up there to where we can also include things like your spiritual journey. And we list all the churches that are in Van Buren County. And we'll do your journey to health and wellness. And we'll list all of our doctors and our hospitals and contacts. When people travel, they need so much more. I mean, yes, they need those 5 basic things. But they're here for extended stays many times, and they need to know all that other information. Plus, our locals need that during the week. I can't tell you, I've only been in the chamber for 2 weeks, and I have locals coming in saying, where'd that new doctor move to? Who is it? Is it a lady? And they don't know these things. And this is one way that we can get that information out there. And it would be my personal dream to have a journey center in like every city. I'd like to have one here in Clinton. I'd like to have one as soon as you come into Van Buren County, south of here, north of here, and have someplace, welcome centers where they can get all this information. They can learn about every business in the county and everything that there is to do. So this is what this group does. I do have a couple of positions open that will focus more on economic development and retention of our businesses and support of that. So, and we have some events we'd like to do at a countywide level. So I have 3 positions. If you think this is interesting, you'd like to learn more about that, you'd like to consider possibly filling one of these vacancies, we want to be sure we have the right people on the bus. So contact our county judge or contact me, and I'd love to talk to you about that. So, do you have any questions? I know I talk kind of fast because I got really excited about it because this has been almost 4 years in coming. So I'm really pleased and very honored to be able to serve in this position.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Next up is Tom Westfall with Holly Mountain Air Park Fire Department.
My
My wife said it was never a good idea to give me a live mic, so I'm going to stand back because I've never really had a problem being heard. So, anyway. I'd like to thank the court for my opportunity to speak tonight, and I'd like to thank Mr. Brian Tatum for sponsoring me to come before this court, and I'd also like to thank Pam Bradford and Judge James for getting me in here on such a short notice. We crammed this in here with an opportunity, so I do appreciate that, and thank you for the opportunity. My name is Tom Westfall, and I am the Holly Mountain Air Park Fire Department Fire Chief. And I have been Fire Chief since 2014, March 2014, and I was appointed Fire Chief. Also, at that time, I was appointed to the Fire Board. At that same time, my wife, Sarah Westfall, was appointed as Treasurer, and she's also a firefighter with the Fire Department. Also here I want to introduce Billy Lynn. Billy Lynn has been with Holly Mountain Air Park Fire Department from its conception. 17 years from its conception all the way through to today. And some of the stuff that Billy has seen with the fire department is that Holly Mountain Air Park Fire Department is one of only 5 volunteer fire departments in the nation to reach a Class 1 ISO rating, which is a huge achievement. We are currently at Class 3. That was decided at some point before I came on to come on down to Class 3, and we've maintained a Class 3 ISO rating ever since. And there's a lot of history I can go into. I can answer questions, but I don't want to get into that right now. We recently had a meeting with membership last week, and it was concluded at this meeting that our district, our fire district, is facing 3 paths of direction. We've got to either decide to stay open and stay operational, dissolve, or be absorbed by the Burnt Ridge Fire District and potentially become a substation of Burnt Ridge. Holly Mountain Air Park Fire District was, and if you look at the maps I've put up on the wall over here for illustration, we were carved out of originally the Burnt Ridge Fire District. We are roughly a 1 square mile fire district that has approximately 55 people that live in that 1 square mile. Some of those people are part-time residents. Some of them are not even residents of Arkansas. And of those 55 people, there's about 29 houses in our district. So we're a very small district, just a little over a square mile. That was carved away from Burnt Ridge at one time. We border to the north Highway 110, and to the south we obviously border Burnt Ridge Fire Station. So, as Fire Chief, with these 3 paths that we have to look at, I'm here to outline some of the problems and offer my best solution for the problems. The main reason why I'm here, and I know you guys have had a chance handouts, and if you'd like to take a moment to look at the first handout, back in January we had an annual meeting, and at that annual meeting we voted to dissolve or start proceedings to close Holly Mountain Air Park Fire Department. And those are the minutes from that meeting and the vote count and stuff like that. So if you'd like a minute to look at that, I'll give you a minute. Otherwise, I can let you look at that at your leisure.
We need to move on.
Okay, we'll move on then. Great. The other thing, as I mentioned, I've got the district maps up there, and one of the things that I'm seeking, the solution that I think is the best path for us, is to, with your help, create an ordinance to consolidate Holly Mountain Air Park Fire Department back into Burnt Ridge Fire District. And I would like to give you some reasons for doing so. And on handout 3, there's one big reason that's outlined right there. Just to summarize that from the years 2012 to 2018, according to the county records, we have had only 5 Holly Mountain Air Park Fire Department call-outs. And we've had emergency call-outs, and we've had 40 mutual aid calls to assist in that time period. Of the 45 total emergency calls, it breaks down to 8 lift assists, 8 medical calls, 2 motor vehicle accidents, 1 canceled call, 1 fire alarm, and 25 grass or structure fires. According to the county records, we've taken in that time period $95,923.58. That money has come from Act 833, sales tax, and district dues. If you look at how that breaks down, the 45 emergency calls breaks down to about $2,131.64 per call that Holly Mountain gets. That's a lot. You compare that with a fire station like Burnt Ridge, who had 175 calls roughly last year. They're only making somewhere around $200 a call. So we take in the same amount of money as all the other fire districts. Those monies are distributed equally among all the fire departments, but it's not necessarily equal on how those fire departments are able to use that money. That is a pretty glaring illustration as to one of the reasons why I've chosen to go down the path of consolidation. Just the fact that it's taken a substantial funding away from the other fire departments throughout the county, not just with Burnt Ridge, but it's all the county fire departments are not benefiting really from us taking a piece of the pie. Another reason that we're having problems and another reason to consolidate is we've got a lack of firefighter participation. This is an ongoing problem with all kinds of fire departments everywhere. Everybody has troubles with staffing and getting trained firefighters and stuff like that. We're no different. The thing that is hitting us hard is that the participation has decreased substantially due to the aging district members. We're a small district, it's an aging district, and we're not getting any new blood moving into the district. So people aren't able to do things that they did 10 years ago or 17 years ago or whatever the case may be. And I've had to get creative and recruit help from outside the district. Currently we have 8 firefighters, 8 qualified and trained firefighters, including me. Only one of them, besides me and Sarah, live in the district. So what that does is it helps because we have people willing to help us, but response time is a lag. If they have to go to the station to get an apparatus, there's a lag time there because they don't live in the district. Some of them live pretty good ways away. So it's kind of a catch-22 in that regard. Additionally, from the very start, one of the problems that the Holly Mountain Fire Department has is they don't have their own fire station. They've never had their own fire station. We attempted to apply for grant assistance and low-interest financing, but because of our lack of call-outs and because of the size of our district, we weren't able to qualify. It's kept us from qualifying for getting outside assistance. So these are just a few reasons why I think the move to consider consolidation with Burnt Ridge and being absorbed into Burnt Ridge would be beneficial. Let me also point out handout 4. And I've talked to several firefighters and several fire chiefs in the area. Chief Jerry Pico with Burnt Ridge Fire Department. He and I have talked about this a long time. I've talked to Chief Lucas Emberton and Sheriff Emberton about some of the struggles they have as fire departments. So these are things that I've been thinking about for quite a while and trying to work through as best we can. And in that letter, you'll see that Jerry Pico, the Chief Pico, is in full support of working with us and to consolidate back into Burnt Ridge and allowing the people that we have that want to continue to firefight to join his ranks and train with his ranks and have as smooth a transition to consolidate as possible. So, if this court would grant consolidation and issue an ordinance to do so, then what we could offer is potentially better emergency services and better fire protection coverage for the people of rural Van Buren County in that area, in the newly consolidated area. And these people currently, if you'll look at the map again, basically from where the red Holly Mountain Air Park Fire Department is, from the end of it north is still Burnt Ridge Fire District, but our gate, our driveway into the air park is 5.3 miles away from the nearest Burnt Ridge station. So anybody within a 5-mile radius or 5-mile driving distance of the Burnt Ridge station is now a Class 5 ISO. They just acquired a new Class 5 ISO. But those people that are in the Burnt Ridge District that are north of us, or beyond the 5 miles, they have never benefited from anything that Holly Mountain Air Park Fire Department has done with their Class 1 or their Class 3. They've always been, and are right now, a Class 10 ISO rating. So there's a lot of people that could be brought in that aren't currently benefiting from a fire station like Holly Mountain being nearby. So that's to benefit more people is another one of my motives in doing the consolidation. My focus and goal after this court would pass an ordinance to consolidate would be to offer Burnt Ridge Fire Department immediate use of a facility and equipment to 100% support a substation. And to do this as an optimal transition would allow for a seamless transition, and fire coverage wouldn't be lost for anybody at any point in time. Plus, we pick up the people that are a Class 10, they now become a Class 5. So it's way more beneficial than just the 1 square mile that we're fighting for currently with the Holly Mountain district. And again, it's within 5 miles driving distance of Burnt Ridge. I'm not sure how the overlap would work with Highway 110. These are some details I'm not really sure, but having a substation up on Holly Mountain would be beneficial. So a little bit of history and closing this down. I know you guys are ready to get out of here. Holly Mountain's fire department's intentions, I think, were good initially. And I think looking back over the past few years, I would feel that if consolidation weren't to happen, it would be, it's selfish. It's selfish of us to only benefit a 1 square mile district. And take the money that we're taking and all the stuff I had mentioned before. And right now, currently, we are not meeting the ISO qualifications or the ISO standards to be a legitimate fire department, with lack of personnel and training and such like that. And I'll give you a good example of that here in a minute. And that's what that's doing is that it was also mentioned at this membership meeting last week, is that there is a fear of for safety of my firefighters, and there's a fear of safety for the district when we don't have enough people, trained to actually do what we need to do there. And one of the things that was brought up is that when I'm out of town, I've got no backup. And I'll give you a good example. Sunday, Sarah and I were in Branson. We were out of town. There was a vehicle fire on the air park. The guy's Traco caught on fire and burned. No structures were burned or anything like that. We had one guy there on the air park that could respond, and he could only respond with the brush truck because it takes 2 people to drive an engine, it takes 2 people to drive our support truck. So Burnt Ridge came with 6 guys. They got put out. Everything was fine, no problems. But that is an illustration where I have no backup. I have nobody to be able to pick up where I left off. And there's been other examples previously that I won't get into, but it makes it real tough. And I go places, I do things, and I'm not always there. So that's just one example. It's a good illustration as to why I would like to seek an ordinance from this court to consolidate. The financial resources can be better served by the community. Besides just going to Holly Mountain, they can be divvied up among all the fire departments in the county. And I want to tell you that my commitment for consolidation with Burnt Ridge is true, and my commitment to the Burnt Ridge Fire Department is true. My wife and I have recently joined as firefighters with Burnt Ridge, so we train with them. We're part of Burnt Ridge, firefighters. We're also Holly Mountain still, but we're training with them. We're doing stuff with them, and we're helping their numbers as well. And I'm sure that there's some other Holly Mountain firefighters that would come along if they chose to do so. So that's going to help Burnt Ridge's numbers, and it's going to keep the people that want to keep serving the county and the community, able to do so. So at this time, I wish we could act on it right now, but at this time I know that we need to push this maybe to the next meeting. So I'd like to ask if there would be somebody willing to sponsor me and work together with me to create an ordinance to consolidate. And I'd like to ask to be sponsored at the next quorum court meeting and maybe go forward with these plans. So again, thank you, Brian, for sponsoring me tonight, and thank everybody for your attention. And I'm sure if you have questions, fire away.
Yeah, I do have a couple of questions here, and you answered one of them. One is I feel for you. I know where you're coming from, all right? Trust me, as a fire chief, I know where you're coming from. Where is your apparatus and stuff currently housed?
The apparatus is currently housed and has been currently housed in my own personal private building. When we moved to this area and we actually had a lot on the air park we were going to build, it came up that the owner of this property, who was also the developer of the air park, was going to retire to Texas. We bought the building, the fire station, the building, and the trucks. And that's when I got blessed with all this fun stuff of being fire chief and doing the firefighting thing and housing the trucks. And that was part of the agreement, was to be able to house the trucks in our building. And that's what we've done. So we have basically a 40 by 40 area in a 40 by 80 building that the fire trucks and the fire apparatus and stuff like that. We have a tornado siren on our house. We live in the middle building, so fire stuff is all over the place. We have a lot of things that are attached to our building or attached to our property that we let the fire station use.
The second thing too is in here. I've also talked to Jerry, and in the future, I know we've kind of talked, because it kind of caught me off guard when we were talking, but you guys have to pay a fee to the Holly Mountain Air Park, or how's that?
Tom and Sarah Westfall, the property we bought was grandfathered in, so where the fire trucks are in the building they're in right now, they're not actually part of the air park. They're there as just a, before the air park was there, we were never a lot, we were never part of the air park to begin with. A couple of years ago, there was an auction up there where Jim Cullum, the developer of the air park, was selling all the lots off, and at that time, the fire department decided to try to get a lot suitable for building, and we were able to get a lot. And so we got a lot right next to where our building is at the auction. And the way we did that is that we were able to talk to our banker, our banker personally, and say, here's what we're wanting to do as a fire station, here's the money that we've got, or some money that we've got to be able to put down. And Sarah actually signed a personal guarantee that we would pay that note off, a balloon note, in 1 year. And we did. We went on an austerity program as a fire department, and we put everything we could as a fire department into paying off that piece of property. So Holly Mountain Air Park owns a nice lot suitable to build the fire station on. We were going to go after some grant money, going to try to get some money to help us build a fire station, and we just didn't qualify. And so that really took a lot of the wind out of our sails. And to build a building at this point for us is going to be a very slow process. We don't know if we can afford gravel sometimes. So, it's going to be something that has to happen down the road. Now, like I said, we paid for that lot. Everything went good, and last year was kind of our recovery year, well, it was our payoff year, I guess, last year. This year's been kind of a recovery year with a plan to go forward, doing a building fund and some other things that we talked about. But that is all kind of secondary to the fact that people don't show up to my meetings, to my trainings, that they don't show up when we have a meeting. We've had 2 meetings since that board meeting in January, and we've had one guest at one meeting, one member show up at one meeting in February, and we had Jerry Pico show up at the meeting in March, and he was the only one there. Nobody else came in. So I'm kind of forging a road by myself here, and I'm trying to guide it down the way I think it's going to benefit everybody in the long run.
Well, I guess where I was getting at too is that if in the future, if Burnt Ridge Fire Department wanted to build a substation up there on that lot or whatever, I'm assuming they would be have to pay that $1,700 annually.
Yeah, I didn't answer your original question. Yeah, so that lot that the fire department bought is being charged property association dues, which is a little under $1,800 a year. So 10% of our budget is going to pay property association dues, which is a little strange.
I personally be more than glad. I know where you come from. I know it's a tough decision to make. I've worked with you guys for many years, but I'll be more glad to sponsor you and try to do whatever we got to do to make it right. You know, I think there's some legal things we have to do. I'm not sure the total on that, but we'll try to work all that out.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We're in a tight spot, and I don't want to see it completely just go away. I think there's a way that we can help the people there on the air park by giving them a better insurance rate, which is one of the main reasons why the fire department was developed up there in the first place. But not only that, but we can help some of these folks just outside the gates, just outside the district. You know, Miss Vicki Spratt, there's several people up and down the road that are currently Class 10, and this would be a win-win for them as well. So I feel like this, in my opinion, is probably the best course for everybody, and will relieve a lot of pressure off of me, because this is wearing on me and wearing on my wife, to try to struggle through this thing.
Without the community support, it's hard to make it.
It is, and I don't know that it's not so much the support. I mean, because I think everybody can agree. It'd be silly to go, no, we hate the fire department. We want things to burn down. You know, it's some of the problems that happen naturally, and that's how that goes.
Thank you for offering to sponsor this.
I've got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If you become part of Burnt Ridge, do you think you could get a grant to build a fire station?
Yes, possibly. Some of the options that we're entertaining now, if we do consolidate with Burnt Ridge, of course, it will be Burnt Ridge's board, you know, to work with what remains of the Holly, because Holly Mountain, if we consolidate, will no longer be an operational fire department, will be administrative only, while we distribute the assets and start all the closing down stuff. But the building, what we're allowed to do, Sarah and I are allowed to do, is let them stay right where they are. And they can keep using it, they're already in our building, let them keep using the building where they are for a period of time. In that period of time, the community of Holly Mountain, I think, will maybe support and help donations for a fire station. I think they want a fire station. I think they want a community center type thing in that fire station. And if they work together with a bigger district, some grant money may be available, some loan money may be available, but also some donations from what used to be the Holly Mountain District, I think might become available as well. I think a lot of people want to see this happen. Unfortunately, the way we are right now, and not being able to financially get that stuff, it's extremely difficult for us. A building for us right now, as it is 5 years plus down the road, maybe at best. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mayor Wellenberger, did you want to address this, or are you just here?
Sure, I will.
Sure.
So, anyway, we had our first job fair ever in Burntville Bay, March 1st and 2nd, so that was very exciting for us for the new hotel coming up. Should open the end of April, that time frame, so it's getting a little close. We had all the state inspectors in today, so, which is never too pleasant, so they always have to find something. So, we had a flawless transition to a new 911 system. It has zero downtime, which, as you know, anybody that's worked on this stuff, that never happens where it's no downtime. So that was awesome. And we've done a much better job of coordinating fireworks this year. So the town of Greers Ferry is on July 4th. We're on July 5th. Heber Springs is on July 6th. Archie Fork is on June 29th. And I don't know when Allred's is. Does anybody? What day? 6th. Okay, so we got two on the 6th. So, but one's Heber way over there. So we'll go to the one in Allred. So.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, did everyone get a copy of the legislative audit? We're pleased to report that we have extra copies if anyone needs them. We're pleased to report that there were not any significant deficiencies in any department or any part of the county judge, treasurer, collector, county clerk, or circuit clerk, or assessor, or the librarian. The only place with non-compliance was under the umbrella of the sheriff, and those are as follows. The fees and cost, circuit court fine, equitable sharing, and communications fund bank accounts were not reconciled in a timely manner. The cash receipts and disbursement journals for the fees, costs, and circuit court fine accounts were not reconciled to the monthly bank deposits and withdrawals. The bond and fine bank account was not reconciled in a timely manner, and cash receipts and disbursements were not reconciled to monthly bank deposits and withdrawals. We have a new sheriff, Mr. Emberton, and he's going to step forward and tell you what has been done to correct the deficiencies.
Just so that it's clear, I took office 1/1 of 2019, so we're answering to what is previous administration. But it's not, I don't think that it's a problem. I mean, we have our answer to go back to the auditors that has cleared everything up. Okay, I think it was just some communication issues there. But I'm going to read you a little bit of this, what we responded to them with, so that they know that we're taking care of the problem. We responded to them with, we're currently in the process of making sure all circuit court fines, fees, and costs, equitable sharing and communications, bank reconciliations are done in a timely manner, and also that we're under new administration. The cash receipts, we're in the process of making sure all cash receipts, disbursements, journal, for the circuit court fines, fees, costs are reconciled to monthly bank deposits and withdrawals and are done in a timely manner. And also in the process of making sure the bonds and fines account is reconciled in a timely manner, as well as the cash receipts and disbursements reconciled to bank deposits and withdrawals. What we found, where the issue was, we had, and I'm not speaking for past administration, I'm just speaking from what I've seen on the evidence, is we had several of our journal and reconciliations that were printed off and then were submitted to the auditor, which it date stamped it, okay? When it date stamped it that several of those that are supposed to be done monthly were all done on one day and then presented to the auditor shortly after that. Those have to be done in a timely manner, which is every month. So when you do those reconciliations in your journal, you have to do those monthly, because when you time stamp and date stamp things, it shows you when it was done. And that's not the timely manner that they're looking for, is print it all off and then present it to us tomorrow. So that was our response to that. That was our reportable issue with the auditors. We did have a supplemental that was brought to our attention, which we're in process of fixing it as well. It'll be short. Bank reconciliations will be approved by someone other than the preparer. They were having an issue with that. Ending balance in the bonds and fines account is unidentified, and it says will be disposed of to a district court order. And our new administration is in the process of looking into that, how we have to do that. The ending balance in the circuit court fine account that is unidentified will be disposed of to a circuit court order. The cash receipts and disbursements journal for bonds and fines will include year-to-date totals. And also, we will have to work in conjunction with the district court for documentation to update the exemption so we are in compliance on the joint auditing committee, and a copy of the ordinance field with the county will also be attached. Whenever we took the district court fines from the sheriff's office in the past, by the ordinance of the Quorum Court, that's all fine, but we have to change the exemption through district court as well, so that the auditors can recognize both departments in agreement to removing and then taking on the new fines. So we're gonna have to work in conjunction with district court in order to get that exemption updated. So, and that's where we're at. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. We're working, I say we're working on it. We've already corrected it.
Thank you. Thank you. Some of the things I get to do as county judge are pure work, and others are nothing but pure joy. It was my joy this week to proclaim March 19th on her 100th birthday as Hazel Barnett Day. So that was a very nice occurrence that a lot of people didn't even realize that this past Tuesday was Hazel Barnett Day. New business. Our first ordinance will be read by Justice Sarah Brown.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance number 2018-59, the annual operating budget for 2019, to increase the projected revenue and appropriate $450 into a new line item for the juvenile court budget, number 1000-414-3104, Girls Book Club donation. Whereas the juvenile court will be receiving donations from St. Jude's Catholic Church in the amount of $550, and whereas this money will be paid in payments, April 100, July 150, September 100, November 100, and then another loan in January of 2020 for $100. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, a new line item be approved, 1000-414-3104, and Girls Book Club donation. Section number 2, $450 be appropriated for the new line 1000-414-3104, and Girls Book Club donation.
Second.
This ordinance has been motioned and second. Is there any discussion?
Are we putting money up front until all the
Good evening, Leanna Brown, and I'm here on behalf of Judge Braswell, who's going to be here tonight, but he volunteered to coach his daughter's softball team tonight for his first practice, so I agreed to come as his chief of staff. This is a donation that we received. I had a woman that had invited me to come speak for the Van Buren County Literacy Council about some of the things we're doing in juvenile court now, some of the programs that we're trying to do. And then she, in turn, on her own, went back to her church and told them some of the programs we're trying to bring to juvenile court. And contacted me via email and said that she would be giving this donation to our court. And none of that fee is going to be touched at this time because, as you'll remember, I did receive a grant last year from United Way, so we're actually running on those funds right now. So with this donation money, we'll actually be able to run through the end of this year after the United Way stops in July on into next year to continue books for the Girls Book Club. So that's what I'm doing.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call vote.
Holt.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2019-11.
Thank you. Next ordinance will be read by Justice Tatum.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance 2018-59, the annual operating budget for 2019, to increase the projected revenue and appropriate $12,750 into the emergency vehicle fund number 3022-421-4005 vehicles. Whereas this fund has been established to collect monies for certain fines to be used for the purchase and maintenance of law enforcement vehicles, Arkansas Code annotated 2722-103 and 2714-314. And whereas this money is needed to help purchase vehicles for the Sheriff's Office, Now therefore it be ordained by the Quorum Court, Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, $12,750 be appropriated into the Emergency Vehicle Fund, number 3022, 421, 4005 vehicles. I move that we approve as written.
Second.
It's been motioned and second to adopt this ordinance. Any discussion?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Holt,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Tatum,
Yes.
Lemmings,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2019-12.
Thank you. Next ordinance will be read by Justice Lemmings.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court, Van Buren County, State of Arkansas, in orders to be entitled, in orders to approve the trade of a Sheriff's Department vehicle to the City of Clinton Police Department and to appropriate monies from the trade. Whereas the Sheriff's Department owns the 2017 Ford Explorer, VIN number 1FM5K8ATOHGD26807 with 16,308 miles valued at $23,000. And whereas this vehicle is no longer needed by the Sheriff's Department and will be traded to the City of Clinton Police Department for a 2011 Dodge Charger, VIN number 2B3C11CT2BH540515 plus $20,000. Therefore, be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County that Section 1, the 2017 Ford Explorer be traded to the City of Clinton Police Department for a 2011 Dodge Charger and $20,000. Section 2, $20,000 be appropriated into the Sheriff's budget, number 1000-400-405, 4005 vehicles. I move that we approve this.
Second.
It's been motioned and second to adopt this ordinance. This ordinance will require 3 readings. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules for the purpose of conducting the next 2 readings at this meeting and by title only.
So be it.
Second.
It's been motioned and second to suspend the rules to conduct the next 2 readings at this meeting by title only. Roll call vote for suspension.
Holt,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Tatum,
Yes.
Yes.
Lemmings, Bass.
Yes.
Justice Lemmings will do the second reading by title only.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to approve the trade of a Sheriff's Department vehicle to the City of Clinton Police Department and the appropriate monies from the trade.
Okay, third and final reading by title only.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to approve the trade of a Sheriff's Department vehicle to the City of Clinton Police Department and to appropriate monies from the trade.
Discussion.
I've got a question. Are we paying $43,000 for this 2011 vehicle? Or do we get the $20,000?
We get the
We get the
20,000.
$20,000.
That's why
Do
we're,
we get the boot?
This time.
That's not the way it reads here.
that's why we're appropriating it, the 20,000.
So we get the car and $20,000 for our vehicle.
Yes, for the trade.
Okay. That's different than the way it reads.
Can you get that?
This plus 20,000.
Yeah, it says 20,000, the vehicle, the Charger plus 20,000. That's fine, I'm fine with that if we're not paying $43,000.
No, but that's why it's an appropriation, because we're getting that 20,000.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Holt,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Tatum,
Yes.
Lemmings,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2019-13.
Our next ordinance will be read by Justice Lemmings.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled,
An ordinance approving the compensation amounts for each quorum court member. Whereas the quorum court member can meet on a monthly basis on the third Thursday of each month, and whereas there are times when special committee agreements or other associated type meetings may occur, and whereas the quorum court of Van Buren County also must curtail costs. Now therefore be it ordained by the quorum court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, each member of the quorum court of Van Buren County would be paid $300 for regular monthly quorum court meetings as advised in the annual operating budget for 2019-2018-59. Section 2, each member of the quorum court of Van Buren County will be paid $25 for special committee agreements and other associated type meetings under which we approve this.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. It's been motioned and second to adopt this ordinance. This one also would require 3 readings. Justice Holmes, do you wish to conduct all 3 readings at this meeting?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules to conduct the second and third reading at this meeting by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Be it enacted by the quorum court of the county of Van
Well,
Buren.
we have to vote on suspension.
You are all getting ahead of me.
I apologize.
Are you ready?
Holt,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Sarah, Phillips.
Yes.
Tatum.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Now, vote yes.
Second reading by title
Be
only.
it enacted by the quorum court of the county of Van Buren, state of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance approving the compensation amounts for each quorum court member.
Third and final reading by title only.
Be it enacted by the quorum court of the county of Van Buren, state of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance approving the compensation amounts for each quorum court member.
Thank you. Discussion.
Okay, guys, the reason I put this in, because we're gonna have a lot of meetings coming up. In the last 2 years, we had a lot of meetings, and we almost broke the bank with all the meetings that we had. We can't afford that this year. We don't have the extra money for that. So that's the reason that I lowered the special meetings and grievance and everything else down to 25 instead of being 100. We're gonna have to have several meetings just on the handbook. Just on the handbook alone. Probably at least 4, probably 5. So we can get it reorganized again. And I want to have one very, very soon, in the month of April, for sure, probably about the second week. So that's the reason I'm proposing this. It's just a money thing, strictly a money thing.
If you don't mind me asking, what were you paid before
$100
per meeting?
per meeting.
Okay, now, will this include as well the deputy appointed by the clerk to fill in for her? They still get paid comp time or time and a half for the
It's
time?
time off, comp time off.
Yeah, that's not incorporated into this.
This is just for quorum court
This is
members.
strictly quorum court.
Gotcha.
Don't need no good money with gas.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other discussion?
And you're not allowed to specify, like, if it was for a grievance meeting, obviously that's gonna be probably longer than,
No, it's not by hours.
State.
Yeah, it's any meeting other than quorum court.
I think some of the budget meetings last fall went till midnight.
Till midnight. That's on the budget.
I didn't get paid either.
Any other discussion?
Are we still gonna try to have some before or after, quorum court?
We can do that as much as possible.
As much as
Sometimes
possible.
it's not.
There's a legality to that, though.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Now, will this include the last grievance meeting?
That does not include the last grievance.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Holt,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Sarah,
yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Tatum,
No.
Lemmings,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2019-14.
Next ordinance will be read by Justice Nikki Brown.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance number 2018-59, the annual operating budget for 2019, to increase the projected revenue and appropriate $1,000 into a new line item for the Sheriff's Office budget number 1000-400-3104, K-9 expense grant/donation. Whereas the Sheriff's Office will be receiving donations from individuals and through fundraisers in the anticipated amount of $1,000. And whereas $400 of that money has already been received from individuals and turned into the county treasurer. And whereas $600 is anticipated to be raised during fundraisers in the near future. And whereas this money will need to be appropriated into the Sheriff's Office budget so that bills may be paid for the K-9, such as veterinarian, food, or any other expenses that may arise concerning the county K-9. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that section number 1, a line item be approved, number 1000-400-3104, K-9 expense grant/donation. Section number 2, $1,000 be appropriated into the new line item, number 1000-400-3104, K-9 expense grant donation.
Do I hear a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I move it.
It's been motion and second to adopt this ordinance. Any discussion?
Does the Sheriff's Office already have the $600 put into it?
Yes.
So if for some reason that's not raised, you'll be able to
Yes.
cover it.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Holt,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Tatum,
Yes.
Lemmings,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
2019-15.
Are there any other remarks or comments that anyone would like to make? Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a comment with regards to the consolidation of
Okay.
Hollywood and Airport.
Okay, you can have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Mike Foote. I'm president of the Park Fields Association of Hollywood Airport. We are wholly in support of what Tom has proposed today. I think it was without a doubt that the airport wants a fire department. We'd love our own standalone fire department. The aging population makes that just not a tenable solution at this time. Consolidation with Burnt Ridge is the very next best thing. I think it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for Burnt Ridge, it's a win-win for the people along Conrad Road and within the service area of Burnt Ridge Fire Department. And it's definitely a win-win for the airport itself. So I would urge adoption of said ordinance.
Thank you. Any other individuals wishing to address the court? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Sir.
Yes.
Before we do that,
Okay.
meeting after meeting, can I see Phillips, Brown, and Bass, please? So we meet right quick.
Which Brown? Sorry.
I've got and
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
third.
Any opposed? Thank you.